Okay, so this is how to add an additional $200,000 to $2 million per year from an artist's existing audience using the artist label model, right? So it's presented by myself, Ezekiel Blackson Campbell, go by the name of 701 Max professionally. I am the lead marketer and founder of Free Artist Era LLC, and let's get into it, right? So if I send you this video, or if you're watching this video, chances are you are an artist or you represent an artist who already has an audience, right? So the point of what we're going to go over today is how we can take advantage of these trends that are happening in the music industry, how we can future-proof ourselves from the turbulence that's going on, and use this new business model that's emerging in order to add predictable revenue into the artist's business, right? So a little bit about myself. I'm a music marketer. I've been working in the industry since probably about 2021, right around the end of the pandemic, right? I've been freelancing mostly. I've been done a lot of dope things between that time, collaborated with a lot of dope people, right? But today is not really about me. Today is about how we can change your situation, right? So I know you guys probably get a lot of pitches, so let's just go straight into the numbers. I know most of you, especially the managers, you guys are going to be really numbers based. So let's talk numbers, right? So I'm going to read this. This is a quote straight out of an article from Music Business Worldwide, right? And as you see, I have it cited below, right? I'm always going to have it in APA, so I won't lead you astray. So this says, I'm going to read it word for word. It says, the potential financial impact of the superfan category was also recently highlighted by Goldman Sachs. Right, we know Goldman Sachs, an investment firm in the financial industry, and they only pay attention to really large sums of money, right? So in their latest report, it claimed that if 20% of paid streaming subscribers today could be categorized as super fans, and furthermore, if these super fans were willing to spend double what a non-super fan spends on digital music each year, that implies a $4.2 billion currently untapped annual revenue opportunity for the record industry. So just to unpack that really quick, right? So they claim that if 20% of paid stream subscribers were super fans and they were willing to spend double, right, then it represents $4.2 billion. $4.2 billion of a currently untapped revenue opportunity is very, very motivating for someone who is in the record business if you know how to tap into it, right? And as you can see, people like Goldman Sachs are paying attention to these things because it is a real opportunity, right? So how are you and your team positioning yourself in order to take advantage of this opportunity, right? And the link is here. I can provide the links for anybody who wants them. I'll put them in the description of this video so you can check the article out for yourself. So let's look at some Spotify data again, or not again, but let's look at some Spotify data now to kind of dive deeper in this and say, okay, well, how much super fans are there really, right? How much super fans might you have access to with your specific audience, or the audience of the artist that you represent, right? Well, this is again from Spotify's Loud and Clear, right? This is the 2022 report, right? Link is right here. And in this, they say, when it comes to merch, your super fans show up big. On average, that 2% of your monthly listeners accounts for more than half of your merch purchases. So they're saying that 2% of the average artist's audience can be classified as super fans, right? So a bit of a disparity from what Goldman Sachs is projecting, but I think if you look at the numbers in a way where some artists might have a lot more super fans, a higher percentage versus others who have a lot lower, we might be able to get closer to that number. But regardless, 2% account for more than half of the merch purchases, right? So this 2% of your audience, let's picture you have 100,000 monthly listeners, right? So this 2,000 people, this 2% made 52% of your merch purchases, right? And this 98,000 people made only 48% of your merch purchases. So the numbers might look a little smaller percentage wise, but I think that they're actually spending more than double. I think super fans are spending more than double what your average fans are spending. I might be wrong. Someone who's really good at math might be able to kind of do these calculations exactly and figure out what kind of, correlation that is. But they are spending really big. The question becomes now, as a marketer, as an executive, as a manager, how do we locate these people, right? Because Spotify is not giving us their contact information, neither is any of the DSPs. How do we locate them? How do we build a connection with them? And how do we start tapping into that $4.2 billion of untapped revenue? Okay. So I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of LaRussell, right? I don't mean to beat you guys over the head with this guy, because everyone's talking about him right now. Everyone is talking about him because of what he was able to accomplish with his situation, where he was able to make $95,000 in revenue in his first month, backed by 4,000 fans, right? So his fans spent on average of $24 to buy a pre-release version of his album that they can also stream for free later on the DSPs. So that's reminiscent of kind of like a CD price, $15 to $20 CD, right? He sold 4,000 of those, and it's not an actual CD. It's a digital version that he kind of made valuable to his audience, right? So that right there has been making a lot of headlines. But numbers like these haven't been as popular. So this is actually an accounting report from one of my mentors' artist clients. And last year, they did $1.3 million in sales, direct to consumer, right? You can see their online store did $1 million. They have the Buy Button, Facebook Shop, Amazon, eBay, etc. They have a bunch of different channels they're using, but they drove $1.3 million in revenue last year, right? And the thing about it is, why I think, my personal opinion, more people are taking advantage of this, especially like this LaRussell kind of situation, is because it's so artist driven, right? There's not many marketing agencies and record labels who are trying to actively crack this code and actively implement things like this for their artists, right? So it's kind of like, if the artist doesn't have the mind for it, then it's hard to accomplish that. We can see even, I'm sure you guys know the story about Ryan Leslie, who's been way ahead of his time with this. And I think back in the early 2000s or the 2010s, he was actually able to make $2 million using Superphone, right? So it's something we've all heard about before, but there's a lot more tools and things that are coming out now that are making it more accessible and more feasible for more people to take advantage of it. For example, even this platform here, like that I have this screenshot from, is from even.biz, which I'm sure you've heard of, where LaRussell was able to make this money on, and it allows artists to sell pre-release albums and give them access and a lot of different bonuses to incentivize them to pay directly for their pre-release, right? And they also recently just launched a community feature where you can now have people pay for your community. They can pay whatever they want. So it's like, it's not like you're demanding a price, that you can have them pay what they're able to afford. And a lot of other cool tools just making this more accessible, right? For everybody. Now, I want to kind of zoom in on what's going on right now versus what I think the best way to move forward is in the future, right? And not only what I think, what I've seen with what we've done, what my mentors have done, and what we're seeing in the industry as a whole right now. So right now, this is the only guaranteed path to help you thrive in this extremely turbulent time we're currently experiencing in the music industry. Let's look at the old model. So the record label business model is built around selling recorded music, as you know. So the goal is to break an artist into the mainstream and put out multiple Billboard chart-topping singles. That's how you win in the current landscape, and that's how you get paid a lot of money, right? The method, I'm going to use a baseball analogy here, right, is to swing for a home run every time. If you miss, cut your losses and recruit a new star as soon as possible. Bench the underperformers quickly and indefinitely. So what that looks like is they're gonna spend as much money, the record labels, as they can to find the next superstar. They want the next Taylor Swift. They want the next Beyonce. They want the next Justin Bieber. They want the next Drake, right? And there's going to be hundreds of casualties of artists who never make it anywhere in that search, right? But unfortunately, a lot of them, they get benched. They get put on the shelf, right? They get dropped from their labels if they're that lucky, right? And just a whole bunch of other stuff. But the goal is to swing for the home run and find the megastar, right? The mentality is that one big win pays for the countless losses, right? One Drake pays for every failed artist you've ever spent money signing. One Taylor Swift changes your entire family's life. Your entire company goes through the roof, and everybody else you spent time on before that didn't perform or maybe, you know, didn't get developed to a place where they could perform is just going to be sitting on the shelf, right? So the income streams in this model, I'm going to make this quick because this is very obvious for most of you guys, right, who be watching this. Streaming. Streaming requires a huge volume on a recurring basis in order to generate desirable revenue, right? This model is most lucrative for major label artists and can be subpar for the rest. Touring. Artists with a strong stage presence, a strong connection with their, artists without a strong stage presence, a strong connection with their audience that's large enough to support a tour, or with a track record for doing great live shows can struggle making money from touring, right? Tours are more lucrative for some artists than others. And if an artist isn't hot at the moment, or if they have no evergreen classics to lean on, investing in a tour may not be an option to generate revenue, right? So we know this. There's artists right now who are well known and who are considered to be mainstream who are having trouble selling the amount of tickets they're expected to sell, right? So if you're thinking, okay, well, we need to generate some revenue, right? We need to, you know, get some money to recoup and get out of this this contract we're in, or whatever the case, why you may need money for a tour might not be a good option for everybody. Everyone can't just wake up tomorrow and be like, let's schedule a tour for the next over in 6 months, and then in 6 months hopefully we can get some money, right? It's not for everybody, right? Not everybody can just do it like that. Next, merch. Most artists offer merchandise only at venues while touring, and those that do offer merch more consistently usually limit themselves to clothing and vinyls, right? This income is usually auxiliary despite the $300 billion fashion industry in the US alone. Most teams are only scratching the surface with what is possible when it comes to selling physical products to an artist's audience, right? So all that to say that this paints a clear picture as to why only a select few are able to become profitable in the music industry with the current business model as it currently stands. The current business model isn't designed to make as many success stories as possible. The current industry business model is designed to, like we talked about, hit a home run every time. And anybody who's not going to hit the home run, anyone who's not going to be a megastar, you might end up as a casualty, right? So now let's switch to the artist label model, right? So for the artist label model, I took some insights from the $38 billion live streaming economy, right? Twitch, YouTube Live, etc. Plus online business models, right? So there's actually a really, really, really interesting report that I read, and I have it cited right here in APA so I don't lead you astray, right? I'll put the link in the description of this video. I encourage you to read it. It's a bit long, and it costs $40, but it's worth it, right? So in the artist label model, the goal, instead of trying to necessarily go straight for the billboards and go straight for, you know, chart topping singles, what the goal is to create a profitable music and content company and generate consistent, sustainable returns over an extended period of time. We're trying to create a sustainable business for this artist. We're not just working with these artists and trying to necessarily search and filter through hundreds of artists until we can find the next Beyonce and then care less about what happens to everybody else. What we're trying to do is recognize the value in the audience that all of these artists have been able to build around their art and extract as much value from that audience as possible to create a sustainable business. That's the goal with the artist label model, right? The method, another baseball analogy: hit a single, then advance to home plate base by base. So we're not necessarily always going for the home run, but if we can hit to first base, i.e., monetize the audience we do have and make enough money on them now to continue to advance forward and grow base by base, we can get to that home run, right? A more solid foundation. Focus consistent attention onto the 2% of the audience that have been proven to be the main drivers of spend, super fans. Provide them the emotional and social rewards they're looking for and make them offers often, right? So there's a lot in there, but we already know super fans, 2% of your audience are the main drivers of spend, right? According to this article, this report that I have cited here, one of the main reasons why live streamers have built up such loyal audiences that are willing to pay them for content that is otherwise available for free are emotional and social rewards, community, belonging, being a part of something, right? That is what people are spending money on in the future because there's so many options. They want to be around authentic content and they want to be a part of it. They want to be a part of a community around it. The mentality: maximize the lifetime value of the core audience by creating a deep connection between them and the artist. We want to get as much money. We're not trying to gouge the audience. We're not trying to extort them. We're trying to provide them as much value as possible so we can get as much returns as possible from these audience members who are willing to spend, right? We know in marketing, in business, the lifetime value of a customer is one of the most important metrics that you can track. But how many people are tracking the lifetime value of a fan in their artist's business? Well, I would risk it to say that not enough people are, because they're burning through fans as if they don't matter. So we need to maximize that lifetime value. The income streams in the artist label model. These are in addition to traditional income. We're not going to stop touring. We're not going to stop streaming. We're not going to stop doing any of those things. But this is in addition to access. Provide interactive access into an artist's life and their process to an inner circle of existing subscribers or on a pay per access basis. Live streamers not only let their fans see behind the curtain, they allow them to help influence the direction of the content in real time. They watch live as the creator is doing what they're doing. The creator might ask them, "What should I do?" And then they're sitting there at home watching this on the camera and they say, "Do this." And they get to watch their favorite creator actually do what they just asked them to do, right? That right there is a really, really underestimated piece of value that could be translated into the music industry and that we could provide for music fans, right? Providing this level of access to fans is not only a long-term investment in an engaged audience, it's monetizable in the short term as well. Not only are you building an audience that's going to be valuable in the future, but they will pay for it today. Community. Build a community of paying subscribers using a community platform, as well as build an opt-in list with the music-based CRM, which they have now. Forever Fan is a favorite of mine, right? Laylo is also another option. So next, constantly provide value to your community members and enlist them to help you design products they can buy from you. Enlist your community to help you design the products that they can buy for you. If you roll out things and you don't know who wants it, you might have a hard time selling it. If you know exactly who you're selling to, you collaborate with them to make sure they get exactly what they're looking for, you have a much higher chance of selling out. Emotional connectedness to their audience is a key driving factor in the economic success of live streamers today, as is the sheer amount of time fans spend watching and interacting with streamers. On average, according to the report cited above, a streaming fan spends 106 minutes a day, almost 2 hours, watching and interacting with their favorite streamers. If we can use community to recreate this for artists, right? We can create the same emotional connection, and we can also reap the same economic benefits. Experiences. Curate intimate experiences tailored for a select few members of your audience, or organize events for your entire community. These can be online or offline and can be sold at a wide variety of price points, from $10 to thousands of dollars. Right, $10 would be, maybe for an online event, and thousands could be for an in-person event. Right, creating events and experiences for your community to gather around. Creating events and experiences for your community to gather around is a crucial way of strengthening the bond between an artist and their audience, as well as between the individual audience members themselves. This is also an amazing way to generate income. So, this is why we call it the artist label, because what we're selling now is access, community, and experiences around the artist. The business model, the monetization opportunity, is the artists themselves, right? Selling the recorded music, that exists. We have that model already. We're going to add this new model of how we're going to sell access and community and experiences with the artist. Nowadays, more than ever, creators, these new level of celebrity, right? The new level of fame with the internet is different. It's no longer hidden. Now it's brought to the forefront. The new celebrities going forward are going to be the most authentic and the most open and the most available, right? We can think about people like Kai Cenat, who, when he was building his audience, I think he did almost like a month or something where he never turned off his live stream. He was sleeping on camera, and he built an amazingly engaged audience by completely removing the cloak and the barrier between them and his life. So the more we can do this, the more we can take advantage of the trends of the future of the industry, right? The future of creators and the future of really fame and celebrity, which is interchangeable with music artists. There's no way around it, right? So that's what's going on. But to execute the artist label model effectively, you need to be strong in two areas. One, product marketing, and two, owning and operating your own distribution channels. A lot of artists and their teams, when it comes to marketing products, the skill often falls to the wayside because it's considered secondary to marketing the music, right? So there's so many different tools, online business tools, and things that are other people are thriving from, completely honestly, like in the e-commerce space where people are making millions of dollars, hundreds of $1,000s a month selling physical products, right? And a lot of these methods that they're using, the artist community and the music community is not using. And this is what we're trying to bring to the table, right? Next is owning distribution channels. So now with social media, artists can own their own distribution, quote unquote, with, TikTok and Instagram, etc. But that's still borrowed. They no longer have to rely on radio and distribution to physical stores, which was far more restrictive. But now the algorithms become a potential obstacle, right? And the fact that social media, for example, TikTok now might be completely banned from the US, and that's going to cost a lot of people a lot of distribution power. So we need to own our distribution, and the way we can do that is by simply having our communities and having contact information, which is something you've heard before, but a lot of people don't have the strategies put in place to maximize this and own as much distribution as possible. It's not really a goal. It's not something that people are actively working on. So that's another thing we want to bring to the table. Right. How we do it, the mechanism. The first thing we want to do is grow your permission list, right? Grow your CRM, grow your community. We want to grow your own distribution channels. That's the first thing we're going to set up for you, right? The first thing we would set up in general. So how we do it in our system is we target your Instagram followers, because your Instagram account has a lot of business tools that we can use to automate a lot of things, do a lot of things faster with less manpower, and still do them effectively, right? And that's also where majority of artists have their audience at. So we're going to target your Instagram followers. We're going to have 4 primary traffic sources to drive traffic to your permission list: ads, story content, captions on posts that you're already making, and satellite accounts, which, not to get into too much details, but we will have additional accounts that we use that will affiliate, to an artist, and those accounts will drive traffic, right, through cold outreach and warm outreach to your followers. We're gonna do that. So next, once we have traffic from all these 4 sources, we're gonna send them to one thing. All we want them to do is to opt in using a keyword. You've seen this before, someone posts on Instagram and they say, DM me this word or comment this word, and then you get an automation, right? So we want them to DM that keyword, and then it's going to trigger an automation that is going to automatically drive them into your free community, collect their contact information, right? And then also give them an opportunity to enter your paid community. Whether they pay or not, we're still going to nurture them down and eventually try and transfer them into the paid community anyways, right? So for this DM automation, you guys have probably heard of ManyChat before, which is one option that we use. But we also have an in-house, more bespoke solution, this custom that we had one of our coding partners build for us, and we can actually program the artist's personality into it, and it will have a conversation. We're still trained to deliver them to one goal, but the only thing is that it's able to respond more intelligently to the fans, and it also generates unique responses every time. It doesn't just repeat what we've put into it. Like it generates a response. It's an AI, right? So it's a lot more intelligent. So once we get as many people as possible into your permission list, into your own distribution, now we're going to make them offers. Simply meaning we're going to sell them stuff, right? So we have all these same traffic sources from your Instagram account that we had here, but now we have an additional traffic source. We have your free community and your paid community, as well as SMS updates, email updates, etc. And through these channels, we're going to sell intriguing products. It doesn't have to be limited to t-shirts and vinyls, right? Like one of the creative things that I've seen an artist I work with come up with is he was a real fashion-oriented artist, and what he did was he created a lookbook. He had these images that he just loved so much, and he put them in a book, had the book printed up, made 100 copies, sold it to his audience, $50 a pop, right? Sold out. And there's so many different things you can do to engage with your audience. For example, if an artist was in a specific city, maybe he could make an offer-based situation where maybe he can give a few people access to his studio session, right? And that's going to be a really high ticket offer, and it could be offer-based, so they can choose how much they want to pay. Everyone sends you a few offers, right? Then after you say, okay, well, these 2 people made something that's worth it for me, $5,000, $1,000, whatever, they can come. There's so many different things you can do now that you have this additional channel to market specifically to your super fans. And that's what we want to help with. So the infrastructure, this is what makes us different. So the way we operate is we don't we don't want to work on a month-to-month basis. We don't want to be just doing this for you into perpetuity and having you pay us monthly. Well, what we want to do is we want to come and install this infrastructure into your situation. So you're going to walk away with it being able to function without us. We're just going to come give it to you, right? And we're also going to utilize it for the first few months and make sure that there's traffic being driven to it, make sure that revenue is being generated, and then we're going to hand it over. So we're going to fill the entire gap for you. We're going to build your channels, free and paid. We're going to generate the content flow. We're going to help you generate the content flow, right? We're going to drive the traffic. We're going to create leads and we're going to convert them. We're going to manage and nurture the channels for you, and we're going to drive the sales for you. And when we leave, this is all going to still be happening for you on an automated basis, right? So once we install all these mechanisms into your business, it should be unreasonable that if you have at least 100,000 followers and 100,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, that you're not making a minimum of an additional $250,000 per year independently, upwards to millions of dollars. So this is the artist label in a nutshell. So if you are an artist or represent an artist with at least 100K monthly listeners on Spotify and 75,000 Instagram followers, if you have the authority and bandwidth to introduce new marketing initiatives, and if you're interested in learning how you can implement a system like this into your business, let's talk. I want to speak with you, right? I want to give you some resources as well. What you'll walk away with after our conversation is a custom PDF roadmap detailing how we would implement this system into your business without damaging the artist's brand. Because I know a lot of artists are concerned about doing these things because they think it's going to make them look lame or desperate for money or whatever the case may be is. And we've created some hybrid and really interesting methods that are really geared toward a music artist that they actually like and find acceptable, right? Next, you're going to get a free access to our suite of digital resources, including our full video course that teaches how to implement some of the methods outlined in this presentation, as well as a few other strategies, as well as our line of ebooks full of valuable information. So I just want to give you guys all that, no pressure. I just like to speak with people who, might be interested in figuring this thing out. So if that's you, this video is going to be hosted on YouTube, so just go in the description. There's going to be a link there. You can book a call and we can talk. Let's have a conversation. And with that being said, thanks for watching. I know it took a while. I'm out.